A sound-fitted TT120 Class 08 diesel? Is it possible? Let's find out. Having started to build a TT120 layout, I've decided I need some locos for it. I already have an A4 which came sound fitted, etc., and I've been using that, and I think I've included it in some of my previous videos. But I decided I'd also like to have a Class 08, the diesel shunter. So I picked one of those up, and the one I have is just here. It's DCC ready, but it doesn't have a decoder in it at the moment, and it certainly doesn't have sound in it at the moment. So I've decided I'd like to try and put a sound decoder in it with a speaker. Whether I can do that or not, we will have to see. I think there'll be just enough room inside the body for the speaker. That'll be the main thing. The loco itself already is set up to take a 6-pin decoder, so I've picked up a Zemo MS490N sound decoder, which I purchased from Coastal DCC, and they have already downloaded the 08 sound project onto that decoder for me, so that is all ready to go. I've also picked up this rail exclusive speaker, the SP1288, and I picked that up from Sutton's Locomotive workshop, and I must admit it came through very quickly. So I have the speaker here, and I have the decoder. I'm going to have to solder, or at least fit the speaker to the decoder. I think that may be a little bit of soldering, which will be fun because I am not very good at soldering, but hopefully it'll work. And then once I've done that, we can see about actually putting the decoder and the speaker inside the loco, which is just sitting here already. Now, I haven't put any accessories or anything onto the loco yet, so it should be hopefully straightforward. I understand underneath there are just 4 screws to undo and the body will lift off, so we'll see how we get on. But let me go and get the decoder and speaker ready first, and then the next step will be to take the body off the loco. Well, I was all set to go and connect the speaker to the decoder, but then I thought, what about if the speaker doesn't actually fit in the body of the loco? So I've decided the first thing to do is actually see if the speaker can fit and be accommodated in the body. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, the loco, there are 4 little screws at either end to be undone, so we'll undo those and then we will see how we get on. So apologies, you may not be able to see very much on the video, but I said there's 2 screws at the front there and 2 screws at the back, so we'll get those out and see how we get on. Just a case of lifting the body off. And there we have the loco, there's the decoder, and there is the inner. Now I'm hoping that this will fit on like that. Yep. So I'm hoping I can fit the speaker up into that area there. Of course, when it's actually fitted in, I'll probably up that end. I wonder if that would work. Right, yes, there we go. And I can get the body on with the speaker in, with the speaker put here. So that's hopeful that when I've got the wires in, it'll be a little bit fiddly, but hopefully we will be able to put the speaker, have a sound in there. So having tested I can get the speaker in, at one end anyway, and having worked out which screws to undo, it's now on to getting that speaker out and seeing if I can connect it to my decoder. So that'll be the next thing to do. I'll go and do that, and then we'll be back for another bit of filming, hopefully showing it fitting in, and then what I want to do is put it onto the layout and see if it works. Having soldered the wires from the decoder to the speaker, I'm now ready to put the decoder into the Class 08. Fairly straightforward, it's only 6 pins. The main thing is to just get the new decoder the right way up, but that should be straightforward enough. So the first thing we've got to do is just take the blanking plate out, which is already in there. So that's just this little bit at the end, here. So we just ease that out. There we go. And then the decoder itself, again, is just about the 6 pins. You just got to make sure you get them lined up nice and gently, and then push them in as firmly as possible. And there we are. That's the decoder in. Obviously, there's a bit of wire, and so I'll worry about that in a bit. But in the meantime, after replacing the blanking plate with the new decoder, I'm now all ready to try it out, to test it. So the first thing to do is I'm going to put it onto my test track. The test track is being powered and connected to a command station running on, actually in this case, a Raspberry Pi using JMRI. Got power to the track. I've still got the decoder as address 3, so I've selected address 3 on my trusty Android phone using Engine Driver. So I'm now all ready to see if this will actually work, if we've got sound and movement, etc. So the first thing to do is to see, do we have any sound? And the answer is yes. And having tested out some of the sound, let's see if we've got any movement. We'll do forward or reverse, that is, sorry. Let's change it. We'll do forward first. See what happens. There we go. Yeah. And we'll stop that. Then we can reverse it. And notice it, back it comes. So there we are. I'm happy with that. So I think now we're ready to put the body back on, and I'll do that in a minute or two. Speaker is connected to decoder. Decoder is in the loco, so now we're ready to see if we can actually put it all together. The speaker is going to fit at the front of the loco in this area here, though there is, if you may not be able to see, there's a bit of a obstruction there, which is due to the funnel there. So when I put the speaker in, I'm going to have to make sure it's slightly to the other opposite side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in with a bit of blue tack to hold it in place, and to sort of try and then just have it to the one side, missing that little bit of it. So put it in, and actually it's not blue tack, sorry, it's black tack, which is just to hold that speaker in place so that it hopefully doesn't move. And I put it in as far forward as I can without it, and as low as I can, so missing that little bit of, so it's slightly to one side. So the next thing then is going to be to just have it so that I can now put this back on. Of course, with the wires and things, feed them up, and then it slips on like that. Certainly think that was what I would deem a success of putting the Zemo decoder with that small 12 8x8 speaker into the Class 08. And I think if I've got another 08, which I've certainly have on order at the moment. I'll do the same again. Though having said that, sound decoders are not cheap, so we'll have to see. But there we go. It's all put in. So see it fitting, and that, I think, is that. Well, I have to admit it took a bit of fiddling, and those little wires inside the diesel are not always the easiest to deal with. You have to be very careful you don't break them. But in answer to the question I asked at the beginning, is it possible to put a sound decoder into the TT120 Class 08 diesel? From my point of view, the answer is yes. Not the easiest thing to do, I admit, but it is possible. So if you've got any questions, comments, please, I'd love to hear them. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Bye.